Long ago, before there were any ancestors, there was a great commotion in the sky and the earth was formed. My aunt, God rest her soul, told me that we have always been here. She said the earth was beautiful in the beginning, but there was no one here to help care for it. So our creator, Mukut, and his brother decided to have a competition to see who could create the most perfectly formed humans to help care for the earth, all its creatures, and life-giving plants. Because Mukut took great care with his work, he won the competition. When Mukut was finished making humans, he realized it was so dark that he could not see them, so he made the sun, the moon, and the stars to light the skies both day and night. When he saw us, he was happy. He called us Cahuilla people, the powerful ones who rule. And he put us in this place, and we lived peacefully for a long time. My aunt, may she rest in peace, told me new people came into the Cahuilla world and brought sickness and misery. Things changed. We became fewer, and we changed too. Many of our sacred songs were lost, some traditions became forgotten, and many of our stories vanished. My aunt said she had dreams, many dreams about bringing the Cahuilla way back to life.
Well, one of my first memories of Jane is they lived in a very small house. It was like a single wide trailer, only it was really a house. And I remember one time going into the door, seeing Jane standing at the wall, becoming afraid and not actually going into the house. I must have been about maybe 7 or 8 years old. But I remember her standing there, and she had a basket in her hand, and she was nailing it to the wall of this little house. And that was where she first started the museum. There were 2 Native Americans. There were no Native Americans that had ever done a museum. The Malki Museum is the first museum that was ever established in California, if not the United States. I'm not sure. That was founded and run by Native Americans.
And the badger would come out of his hole. But it was a dragonfly. Show me your dragonfly. That would swirl around everyone in the village, but only land on her. Oh, do you know what that means in the California Indian way? It means that you have a good heart. And she had a good heart. And you know what? She was kind, and she was generous, and she was loving. She was all those things. But guess what? There was a little boy in the village, and he had a coyote spirit. And he liked to play tricks on everyone. And he didn't like that the dragonfly never landed on him. So he decided that he was going to trick Shulayem. And he got a little stick, and he took that abalone shell, and he put some mud in it, and he put spots all over his face, just like Shulayem. And when he looked at himself in the creek, he began to laugh. He thought he was so funny. And he got his clapper stick, and when all the children were around, this is what he did. Shulayem began to cry a little. And then she cried a lot. And she went to the creek where her grandmother was gathering some plants for a basket. She said, "Grandmother, why do I have these spots all over my face? I don't like them." She picked up a soap. She began to scrub her face, and the grandmother came over. She said, "Shulayem, never question the Creator."
When I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, my sister and I were invited next door to a birthday party. And I don't recall who's one of my cousin's birthdays. And our aunt, Julia Nutz, we say Nutz at the end of the name when they're gone, you know. She was a fine cook, had the reputation in our family for cooking delicious food. In this case, at this time, it was a cake. This is a chocolate cake I had never had that before, chocolate cake. As she was serving the cake, she told us a story about the little bear. She said there was this little bear who misbehaved, and his brothers and sisters taught him a lesson. They locked him out of the den. I think that he was keeping them awake. He was disturbing the quiet. And so he was playing around out there, and all of a sudden he was getting tired, it was getting cold, and they wouldn't let him in. So he says, "Ucha tirvich, cold ground. Kakwan haipin no kuman." It's a cold ground, I'll never sleep. And then the wind is blowing, and it's cold. He says, "Ucha shruvit, cold wind. Kakwan haipin no kuman. I'll never ever sleep." Then I added the verse, the sun came up and it was too hot to sleep. Urcher, tamit, hot sun. Kakwan haipin no kuman. And I did that because I needed more length to the music for the kids to sing. And this was a result of teaching in Palm Springs Junior High School. Here they lived in the area and didn't realize where they were. These different cultures who were my students. And I said, this wonderful mountain here, it's a special mountain. Ayakaich means gathering mountain. And that's what they called it. People would go there to gather food, clothing, things to make clothes with. And the spiritual folks would go there to learn their songs. And so I added a chorus of all things to this lullaby. This is a lullaby. And I mentioned Ayakaich in the chorus. It says from Mount Sanasino we get, or from Gathering Mountain. Translation of Ayakaich is Gathering Mountain. Sanasino is the proper name among the non-Indians. The song goes like this. Ucha ucha tirvach, ucha ucha tirvach. Actually, I added the rattle to that. And this is in the Serrano language, I forgot to say. Ucha ucha tirvach, ucha ucha tirvach. Kakwan haipan no kuman. Ucha ucha tirvach, ucha ucha tirvach. Kakwan haipan no kuman. Ayakaich, 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 ayakaino, ayakaino. Ucha ucha shrubbat, Kakwan haipan no kuman. Ucha ucha shrubbat, ucha shrubbat, Kakwan haipan no kuman. Ayakaich, 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 ayakaino, ayakaino. Then the sun comes up. Urcher tamit, urcher tamit. Kakwan haipan no kuman. Urcher tamit, urcher tamit. Kakwan haipan no kuman. Ayakaich, 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 ayakaino, ayakaino, ayakaino. So that's a rendition of singing it, and it can actually be sung as a canon. You have multiple singers, And this is how it sounds on the flute. Let's see. I'm sorry.
One of the really nice things that I like about coming here to the Malki Museum is it's just a really unique place. There's no place like it. I go to a lot of places, powwows, and there's a lot of places that are really extravagant as far as setup. And when I come here, this seems more like the native world. It seems like just the way they have everything set up, just a really wonderful place. The people are really nice here. Just getting to know a little bit of the history, not only here, but of Southern California. And this is one of those points that I think is really important to the people of Southern California and the natives also.
We started a bird dance here that we do. This will be our second annual. It started in April, May, and June, the last Friday of these months. We just get together and sing birds and dance and like trying to make it like it used to be, where it's not a performance, because now everything is a performance now. And this, we just want it to be where people come together to see how it, like they used to. See each other, talk, have fun, dance, sing, eat food. There's so much stuff in there from, the history is in that research library. And that's one thing that the community, I think, is going to love to use. They're going to come in there and they're going to be able to say, this is my family. Can you find me anything on it? And we're going to be able to find it for them. And they're going to be amazed at the stuff that they find in there, just history. There's so much. And from all over. They kept everything. Their newspaper clippings, magazines, pamphlets, everything. It's amazing.
Although the library isn't a public library, it's open to the public if somebody wants to do research or learn more about Native culture. We've got it here. Also, the archives, there's a lot of documents from Jane Penn's collection, and she was a huge activist. So we have everything. She left everything to the museum, all of her documents, any letters she would write to her congressman or any large association she has. And she also kept all of the Bureau of Indian Affairs papers, so that's here as well. And they're all primary sources. So that's part of our archives. The books are available for people, for researchers, for our own use, but we want to extend it and open it up to the community.
The Malki is the inspiring story of a Cahuilla woman, Jane Penn, and her determination to honor her Aunt Margaret Pablo's dreams of preserving the Cahuilla culture for generations to come. She enlisted the help of her friend, Ernest Siva, and the two became trailblazers in every sense of the word. Together, they embarked on an incredible journey to create a place where history, culture, and hope could thrive. That place is the Malki Museum on the Morongo Reservation in Banning, California. A place of endless wonders, a place ever evolving, yet unchanging in its vision to let the world know we are still here.